Welcome back to Observer AM. I'm your host, Jacqui Quinn. The time is now 7:25 in Antigua and Barbuda. Gender-based violence is violence directed against a person because of one's gender. The majority of victims are women and girls. Some gender-based violence examples include rape, stalking, sexual harassment, street harassment, domestic violence, revenge porn, emotional abuse, and economic abuse. Gender-based violence is a phenomenon deeply rooted in gender inequality. It continues to be one of the most notable human rights violations within all societies. The World Health Organization estimates that about 1 in 3, or more than 30% of women worldwide, have been subjected to sexual violence or intimate partner violence in their lifetime. On March 8th, Integrated Health Outreach and the Directorate of Gender Affairs will collaborate to host an event called Men and Women United 2025 Stop Gender-Based Violence, and it's a 5K walk. We are very honored to have in studio this morning Kieron Murdoch. He is the Communications and Admin Specialist with Integrated Health Outreach. And joining us on the phone line, we have Raisa Charles, the Program Officer at the Directorate of Gender Affairs. Good morning, Kieron.
Good morning, Dr. Quinn. How are you doing?
I am great. And you?
I'm alive and well, and I'm happy to be here this morning, and I'm happy that IHO and the Directorate are partnering once again for this great event.
And you're happy to be in familiar surroundings.
I am happy to be in familiar surroundings, even though I couldn't remember the direction that some of the doors swung. So one of the doors hit me in my face
that.
as I came in.
Oh, dear me. Good morning, Raisa.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Okay, great to have you. Now, let's start with how prevalent is the issue of gender-based violence. I gave a short précis in my introduction, but let's talk about that, the prevalence. Yes, Kieron.
Yes. Well, I think the statistic that you mentioned there in terms of the World Health Organization noting that around 1 in 3 women globally estimated to have experienced or will experience some form of intimate partner violence or sexual violence within their lifetime. And that is a truly staggering statistic. And when we say gender-based violence, of course, as you rightly mentioned, the heavy focus is on violence towards women and girls. Of course, the issue of gender is more expansive than that, but we really are focusing on violence against women and girls in this instance. It is a challenge, and in the Caribbean specifically, there are very high rates of sexual violence and gender-based violence, and there is a culture of, I think, I don't want to call it, well, I mean, perhaps I should just call it acceptance.
Yes.
That we sort of benignly just say, well, that is what it is. We've made strides in society over the past 2 decades on the basis of the work of whether it be government agencies or NGOs, advocates who have tirelessly worked to bring the issue of gender-based violence to the public's attention, and also to work on policies that better enable society to respond. What we are attempting to do through this activity is really awareness building.
That's right.
To bring something that we don't necessarily speak about as often, or perhaps we only discuss in settings like these, but it is not necessarily too comfortable a topic to discuss in the workplace or in the home or in schools. To bring it into the public sphere and allow and generate that opportunity for members of the public to take part in that advocacy. And one thing I'll say just before I wrap on this question is we were very, very pleased last year with the turnout.
Yes.
We had over 1,000 people, and it demonstrated that people were listening. Yeah. People were listening, and it is an issue that people are aware of. It is something that we are not necessarily addressing as a society in the way that we ought, but everybody is aware that it is a challenge.
Right. Raisa, Kieron made mention of the fact that in the Caribbean, the figures might be a little bit higher than what we're seeing at the World Health, the WHO, the figures that they would have put out, which is 30%, 1 in 3. Do you have an idea of what it looks like in the Caribbean region and in Antigua and Barbuda? I know there's a lot of underreporting, and that's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that happens every time we talk about prevalence. We have to underscore that underreporting is an issue. There are so many people out there who don't even understand that they are experiencing gender-based violence, much less being able to report it. So I don't have any specific figures on what is happening in the Caribbean region. And even here in Antigua and Barbuda, it's a little challenging to say, well, this is the specific figure, because we have different agencies collecting stats, and we would really have to sit and quote all of those things to be able to get a real, true picture. But I have heard that it may actually be as high as maybe 25%. So I don't want to give you a specific, this is what it is. But yes, we do have some significant issues in the region, largely stemming from the fact that the awareness and understanding of gender-based violence is still something that we are working to mainstream into the public consciousness, to make sure that everyone understands what this type of violence looks like and where these support services are if they are experiencing it.
How adequate would you say is our response to gender-based violence as a society? And perhaps you can also talk about areas of improvement. Kieron, you could start, and then Raisa could pick up.
Well, I think that one thing we can certainly be proud of, particularly from the side of our public services, is that we do have very, very talented, very committed individuals who have worked over the years and currently still work at the Directorate of Gender Affairs. And one of the things that I think has been really great is the fact that they've created a support and referral center, which is a body which is designed to deal immediately with a client-centered approach with persons who are experiencing gender-based violence, sexual violence, and sort of be a one-stop shop and really connect with persons to make the process of coming forward to make such a report and receive the services that would be available an easier process, because it obviously, to experience that kind of violence, whether it's physical, emotional, or whether it's sexual violence, is extremely traumatic. And it's difficult to come forward. So I think that's one of the things that we can be proud of in terms of our progress as a society. However, I think on a broader level, we are still a lot of work to do in terms of how we respond to it on an institutional level. One of the gaps that we do have, of course, is needing to have a really sustainable shelter for persons who have experienced gender-based violence. And that is a project which IHO is currently working towards in partnership with various persons. And we have actually, in partnership with the government, secured an area where such a shelter, we hope to establish one. Great. And we're working on a model, and we are cooperating with donors and so on and so forth. So that is one of the things that we are highlighting this year during the march. And the awareness, it's really that ability to bring awareness, change culture, and to, empower the society to say that there is really no excuse for abuse, because we tend to make excuses.
Yes. There's a song, if you bust up my face, there was a famous calypso. Was it Sparrow? Is love I love you? Is love I love you?
It was short. It was either short or which one of them?
I'm not.
Somebody's going to castigate us for not knowing.
Yes. If I bust up your face, if I hit you with a frying pan, is love I love you. And we have accepted that kind of thing in the region. Let's take a quick break, though, for the Rovia Minute, brought to you by Rovia Medical and Surgical Suites. Our presenter this week is Dr. Gwendolyn Fevrier-Roberts. Our broad theme this week, let's talk about infertility, and today's topic, female factors in infertility.
Hello, this is Dr. Gwendolyn Fevrier-Roberts from Rovia Medical and Rovia Surgical Suites at the Ramco building. The most common factors in female infertility include problems that affect ovulation and abnormalities of the uterus or fallopian tubes. Some congenital abnormalities and hormonal imbalances prevent ovulation or the release of the egg from the ovary. Polycystic ovary syndrome, thyroid disease, and obesity are common culprits. Abnormalities of the uterus from birth, fibroids or polyps, scarring of the uterus and the tubes from surgery, abortions, or infection can make it difficult to become pregnant. Sexually transmitted infections are a common cause of tubal blockage. Endometriosis, where uterine lining is found outside the uterus, is a relatively common cause of infertility. As in males, chronic diseases, nutritional deficiencies, drugs, excessive alcohol consumption, and smoking may be factors.
Hey Mavis, what's the best type of internet available?
Fiber optic internet has the fastest upload and download speeds and outperforms any other type of internet connection.
Hey Mavis, who has fiber internet in Antigua and Barbuda?
iNet.
Hey Mavis, how do I sign up for iNet Fiber?
New customers and customers upgrading from iNet's DSL service can visit inetfiber.apua.ag to apply. Existing customers can upgrade for free.
iNet Fiber /./.
Can I help you with anything else? Hello? Hello? Well, for anyone else listening, sign up or upgrade to strong, fast, unlimited, reliable internet with iNet Fiber.
Mavis, you're smart, see?
Need a little cash to hold you over till payday? Don't panic. We're here to help. Put some extra cash in your pockets with Quartz Ready Cash Loan. No security required. 24-hour approval. All you need is your ID, pay slip, 2 references, 1 recent job letter, and proof of address. Don't delay. Get what you need with a Quartz Ready Cash Loan. Visit us today at any of our Quartz or Ready Cash locations. Quartz Ready Cash. Ready when you are.
This is Observer Radio.
Your voice counts. Your questions are answered. This is Observer AM.
Welcome back to Observer AM. The time is 7:37 in Antigua and Barbuda. I'm Jacqui, Quinn, your host. If you joined us late, we're talking with Kieron Murdoch, Communications and Admin Specialist with Integrated Health Outreach, and on the phone lines, Raisa Charles, the Program Officer at the Directorate of Gender Affairs. And Raisa, I know you wanted to come in to talk about what we left off with at the end of the discussion there. Where do we need to see improvement, and about some of the ways in which women are abused, women and girls are abused, which we don't recognize. It's not physical abuse, it's psychological, it's emotional, it's financial, and we don't categorize it as abuse.
Right. So to piggyback on what Kieron said, I think Antigua and Barbuda is doing great work within the region, even when it comes to our gender-based violence prevention and response. I know that the Support and Referral Center has been used as a model for countries, not only regionally but internationally, and that's something for us to be really, really proud of. In terms of where do we go next, I think public awareness really is the key, and this is part of why we at the Directorate are so pleased to be able to partner with IHO on this initiative, because civil society action is crucial to really getting the public to understand and advocate for some of these issues. I believe that policy is great. You know, policy sets a framework for what we will and will not accept and how we will go about providing redress to victims, and I think that's amazing. But if the people on the ground do not have a solid understanding of what the issues are and what the social factors that you and I go about our everyday business, how we contribute to issues of things like gender-based violence, then the policy can only go so far.
Right.
And so I think that public awareness, helping people understand that violence isn't just physical. It's not just, if they're boxing in your face. It is also the way that they speak to you. Is this person being extremely possessive, blocking people from your phone because they don't think you should be talking to them? Things like that. Having those conversations, helping us to understand why these things are considered violent. Also, really looking at what is our relationship with patriarchy in the region. What, if any, are the ways that we still hold certain biases against women and girls, and what biases do we hold against men and boys, and how can we unlearn those things and move towards a more equitable future? I think those are the things that we really need to hone in on at this time.
Now, let's talk a little about the activity, the big activity that's coming up on the 8th of March. Who are you targeting in terms of registration? And you could talk us through a little of it. Kieron, you teased us a little and told us that there were about over 1,000 people last year. So tell us about this year.
Well, we have set up a simple registration form online that persons can access. The link to that is something that you can find if you go to our social media pages, Integrated Health Outreach on Facebook, or you can go to the Directorate of Gender Affairs social media page and you'll find the link there as well. Or you can WhatsApp 736-4446. That's IHO's number, which as communications officer I'm responsible for. So if you message that number, I will just send you the registration link and you can easily sign up. We are targeting different groups in society. I mean, we're targeting everybody, but in terms of our approach, we are reaching out to business places, we are reaching out to groups, we are collaborating with media organizations such as this in terms of getting the word out and in terms of raising awareness in the weeks leading up to the event. We are particularly interested in youth organizations, community organizations, volunteer organizations, those that have that connection with the community and are involved in that space already, to bring out their membership as well. And we, of course, have the opportunity for persons, sometimes if you are within an organization and you provide, I've experienced this myself, and you provide this, not with IHO though, and you provide a link for something to your members, it is a bit of a pain to go around and make sure they actually register for it. Right. So what we have said is that if you're a business place or a government department or an organization, what you can do is you can get into contact with us and you can simply provide us with a list of the persons, their names, their shirt sizes, and a couple other little specifics. And we would just register them ourselves. And you can, not have to go through the challenge of having to make sure that everybody completed this registration. But for individuals out there who are listening, who want to take part, or you want to take part with your family, which is a really awesome thing. We did see many small children out on the road. Yes. And I think it's so refreshing to be able to introduce young persons to advocacy, to let them know that it is totally normal, it is totally right that as a citizen you come out and you demonstrate on matters that you are concerned about. And gender-based violence is one of those things that we don't necessarily come out and demonstrate on, I shouldn't say except, but it's prolific. Nonetheless, it is prolific. Sometimes it's difficult to comprehend when you really sit down and have conversations with different persons from different walks of life, and you realize just how many survivors, many times very silently, are going about their daily lives, and it'll leave you speechless. That's right. Someone is saying, please invite schools and churches as well to sign up for this in this walk. Raisa, if someone is watching or listening, they need help, having experienced gender-based violence of one kind or the other, what can they do?
Right. So they can call the National Gender-Based Violence Crisis Hotline. That is 463-5555. It is a 24-hour hotline. Somebody will be there to take your call. Also, they can come into the Directorate of Gender Affairs Support and Referral Center. We are on the corner of Nevis Street and Friendly Alley in that pink building across the street from Idris parking lot. You can come in there and just let us know that you need to speak to somebody in the center. And we have trained officers waiting to not only take details about what happened, we will also take action in terms of whether it is that you want to report to the police. If you think you need counseling support, we will help walk you through a list of options so that you can choose the best services for you.
We want to thank you very kindly, Raisa and Kieron, for coming and talking with us. And this is not going to be our last conversation, because we're going to have you here every Thursday right up until the event. And so we'll talk more in depth about this matter.
Thank you so much.
We're now going to head over to the news desk for the second morning edition of the news with Tana Weston.
Next, the second morning edition of The Big Stories in association with the Caribbean Union Bank.
Driven by